So chapter 11, what was chapter 11 about? Quick recollection.
No, aspects of transcendental services.
Okay. What else? Like any thematic, any theme
Yes,
which had
yes.
emerged?
Yeah. So different aspects like um, basically the aspects are like Vedic, Vaishnava scriptures, Dhammas, and service to Vaishnavas, like how those are like different uh, paths or ways to progress in the transcendental path. And yesterday we discussed some of them, like sorry, last class, um, Nam Chintamani or chanting, and also like um, how Madura is greater than Vaikunta, and
Right, Prabhu. Right. So see, thematic wise, chapter 12, the focus was the internal purification. Right. It was full. What is our intent? What is our attitude? How we are approaching. Right. So that chapter 11 focused on. And as chapter 11 focused on, you can see that as we are, let's say, as we are going through that uh, uh, internalization, we are focusing on our internal cleanliness. Right. That is very important. Right, because ultimately Krishna consciousness is all the matter of inside, what we feel about Krishna, how we act with Krishna from the inner attitude, just not the external thing. But once that happens, as the inner cleansing is happening, right, and we have the sixth biggest fault within ourselves, right, lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, pride, right, these are all the six things which we have. So as those are being revealed to us and we are doing the internal cleaning, then what happens as we are getting cleaned, that we started developing a lot of attachment with Krishna. And with that attachment, the symptoms start showing up externally, right? We want to celebrate a specific a festival for Krishna, right? We are going for the means we are honoring Kartik month. We are serving Damodar with Damodar month, right? And then we are observing. We are getting attached to a deity service, getting observing the appearance days, relishing Bhagavatam, developing attachment to Mathura, associating with the devotees. So those things becomes very intense. We start we start really relishing it. So the external symptoms are coming because I have the internal attachment to Krishna. Okay, so that was the link from chapter 11 to 12. Now in chapter 12, um, uh, in the last five items, it was covered like the most potent items. Now you see that so far we have seen that we have said, okay, there's a qualification, one should have a faith, and then one should come to the bhakti. What we are going to hear today, this all the 64 items are important, but these last five items from 60 to 64 are so potent that even the very, very small faith is good enough. As long as we have the relationship, we are willing to develop the relationship with Krishna, that becomes sufficient. The only thing which will hinder the progress is our offensive mentality. Okay, our offensive mentality. So that's what chapter 13 is going to talk about, that these five potent limbs, why they are potent. It can take anybody from zero to become a hero, to like to become completely Krishna consciousness, as long as we don't have the offensive mentality. Means we don't want to offend anybody. All right. So with that preamble, just wanted to go over it quickly from Waves of Devotion. like the serving the Lord according to one's position, performing devotional service in Kartik month, with observing festivals, celebrating the Lord's activities, right? And then the final items, of course, as we talked about, right? Serving the deity, recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with advanced devotee, chanting the holy name, and living in Mathura. Uh, there were some repetition, and repetitions are just a sign that these are important, right? So there were repetition about this residing in Mathura, going to a temple of Vishnu, right? So those were some repetitions were there, and so the book is just acknowledging, yes, but those are there for emphasis. um, they were worshipping the sacred tree. Again, this was there were the repetition for that in the past, like it says worshipping the banyan tree, um, singing and chanting, those things like going to a sankirtan. We covered those, and there were other so-called some of the repetitions which were there, which is mentioned here. So now coming to chapter 13, we will be talking about all these top five, right? And we will be going through how this will lead to the spiritual advancement, rapid advancement. All right. So this point of time, let's jump to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and it is from 238. I see one Rajesh Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Rajesh Prabhu. I'm sorry, I don't know you. If you can introduce yourself, that will be great.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just joining late. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. My name is Rajesh Prabhu. We recently got initiated. I mean, yesterday, day before yesterday.
Ah, I see, I see, I see. Yes, Prabhu. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
I can remember your face now.
yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to. I don't know if how much is covered, Prabhu. If it is lot of already covered, then probably I'll join next batch. But I thought I'll check how much is covered and.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu. We have covered 12 chapters. We are on chapter 13.
Okay.
Yeah, you are most welcome to join and hear as you like.
Hmm.
Their recordings are also available
Hmm.
in the playlist. You can definitely watch those also. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah,
Good.
so you can decide that there's no problem. So it's not that. So there is, of course, there is some concept which is built, but again, these things are we can read it as many times as we like,
Hmm.
because every time. See, Prabhu, I am teaching this maybe for the. So I had done my own Bhakti Shastri. That's the time I read, and then
Hmm.
after that, I suppose I'm teaching this for the third time, and every time I learn something, Prabhuji. Learn not learn something. I learn a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I learned a
Oh,
lot. This is that's subject matter. All right.
okay.
So
Yeah.
thank you, Prabhuji, for joining and introducing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I see Aparna Mataji also. Very Hare Krishna, Aparna Mataji. All right. So
Hare
today we
Krishna
will
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna. So let's start with okay, Preeti Mataji. You would like to start from 238.
Sure, Prabhu. Translation. The five items, verses 90 to 92, have inconceivable and astonishing power. What to speak of having faith in these items if there is just a little relationship with these items? Persons we, who are devoid of offenses can attain the level of bhava. Jiv
Wow.
Goswami's commentary.
So yeah. So now anybody would like to comment on this? What is the takeaway for you, for us? I would say.
So we are transferring from sadhana bhakti to it is transferring from sadhana bhakti to bhava bhakti.
So
Yes.
I will. Yeah. So I would read it little slight. Means that's not wrong, but I think in the emphasis is that these last five items are so inconceivable. So the word you see, word is inconceivable and astonishing power. Right? So these two adjective you can see inconceivable, astonishing power. And then the third is says that what to speak about having faith in these items. So we talked about right to, and this was in chapter 3 that the qualification or chapter 4 qualification was to have faith to enter into the realm of bhakti. But these five items are so potent. It's telling that what they speak about having faith. Like they're telling that even if you don't have the enough faith, you have only minuscule faith. If there is just a little relationship, what is really needed is just a little relationship with these items, right? Which means that by some arrangement, let's say somebody lives close to Vrindavan or Mathura, or they know somebody who is a Krishna Bhakta, right? Somebody who is a Bhagavatam lover. If there is little relationship with any of these things, that is enough to bring that person who doesn't even have a strong faith to the level of bhava. So it is talking about the potency of these five items. So very simple sentences, but see how much power this sentence have. Are you guys ready now to read? Right? Yes. Go ahead, Mataji now.
Translation: The power of serving the deity. O my friend, if you desire to enjoy with your friends and relatives, then do not look upon the form of the Lord called Govinda, wandering near Keshi Tirtha on the bank of the Yamuna river, with a slight smile on his lips, posed with three bends in his body, eyes glancing everywhere in a crooked fashion, flute placed on his red lower lip like a tender bird, and shining gloriously with a peacock feather.
Okay. Commentary.
Jiv Goswami's commentary. Using his own sweet words, the author in 5 verses that follow expresses his ecstasy about the 5 items that he had mentioned in verses 90 to 92 by saying, "Do not look." The author actually means that one must look at Krishna. By experiencing the sweetness of the Lord's form, you will consider everything else to be insignificant. Therefore, look at that form of Krishna. This is the intention of the prohibition.
This is a very literary instrument, which, and you can see sometimes uh, we will tell our friend, no, 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 you shouldn't go. You shouldn't go. Like just we know that that person wants to go there, but no, no, you shouldn't go. You are not going to like it, right? So that's the literal instrument which is being used here, right, by Rupa Goswami. That if you desire to enjoy with your friends and relative, then do not look upon the form of the Lord Govinda, called Govinda, because once what will happen if somebody looks at the form of Govinda?
You won't be interested in anything else.
Exactly, exactly. That's the compare and contrast. So people will forget about their family and the friends. So because there is so much of rasa with Govinda that people forget everything else, which is all material. What they only know is Krishna. That's it. Right. So it is a warning, and this is the kind of writing I have also seen in Manah Shiksha, where Raghunath Das Goswami is telling that if you want to live in Vraj and you want to love Radharani and you want to love Krishna, then do not dare to see the three bending form of Krishna. Right? So it's so beautiful. That's what it's talking about. It's trying to increase our affection. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Translation: The power of hearing Bhagavatam. O idiots, how unfortunate you are. I think that you must have been hearing all the syllables one by one of the verses of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, because your ears are now denouncing the most auspicious goals of dharma, artha, and kama, and even decrying the fourth goal of liberation, which is most blissful. Jeev Goswami's commentary. This is the praise of Bhagavatam using the device of criticism. This and the previous verse are examples of the literally ornament called aprashtuta prasamsha, prashamsa, conveying the subject by something that is not the subject. When irrelevant topics are introduced in reference to the topic at hand, it is called aprastuta prashamsa. There are five types stating the effect when the cause is the subject, stating the cause when the effect is the subject, stating the general when the particular is the subject, stating the particular when the general is the subject, and stating similarity. Kavya Prakasha 10.99. Instead of the general topic, details of the topic are introduced. The general topics are serving the deity and hearing the Bhagavatam, but the details are introduced as the focus. The aim is actually to become aware of the greatness of the general topic. Moreover, in the previous verse, because the intention is to praise the form of the Lord, the literal statement that forbids one from seeing Govinda is not the real meaning. Similarly, in the present verse, the real meaning is not contempt for hearing Bhagavatam, expressed by saying, O fools, Hamho Dimba, because the auspiciousness of dharma, artha, kama, and happiness achieved through liberation are actually surpassed by the supreme bliss attained by bhava, induced through the hearing of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. In these two verses, the subjects are praised by the use of extreme criticism. To praise an object by criticizing it is the ornament called Vyajastuti, indirect eulogy. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura's commentary. Varna eva karnadhvani patikatam nita means the syllables of the Bhagavatam have become travelers on the pathways belonging to the ears. The implication is that the foolish persons have not understood the meaning of what they have heard, just hearing syllables. O idiot, Dimbha, you must have been hearing because of from hearing those syllables. Those ears are now criticizing dharma, artha, and kama and deriding even liberation. By extreme criticism in the two verses, one can understand that the author is praising the subjects in the two verses. This is the ornament called Vyajastuti.
All right. So, what is the takeaway? Key takeaway from this verse?
Must hear Bhagavatam.
Yes. Must hear Bhagavatam. And see, Jiva Goswami, of course, explained the this particular instrument, right? And I was just thinking that how we use now. Somebody tell me, have you used this kind of instrument in your daily life? This literal instrument in the language, where you mean something, and but you will say the opposite of that.
Yeah, like
Yes.
sometimes when you are praising prasadam, so we will say like if you eat it, that's it, you are gone, you are liberated. So that means that much, that much nice that prasadam is like that. So, something like they'll criticize and praise in reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, be liberated means somebody can die also, right? You are saying that
Yes,
you
yes,
are dead,
yes.
right? You are gone,
Yes,
but they are
yes,
really liberated. Okay, yes, okay, that's a good
yes.
example. Mataji, you wanted to add something? I heard
No, Prabhu,
something.
I think Prabhuji said very nice. But yeah, I was just saying in terms of our, the kids, we try to say differently so that, they do what we want to do.
Right?
What we
And I,
want.
of
Yeah,
course,
sorry.
yeah, but with the kid, we do the opposite of that. And I was remembering that how sometimes a husband and a wife, like say for example, with my wife, I'll say that I know you are the worst cook, right? You are the worst cook, because she know that she's means I really love her food, so I can say that you are the worst cook, and then I'm smiling at her, right? So these instrument, when it's used, actually that also shows the affection and the love which is there, right? So by using these instrument, Rupa Goswami is just not saying that these are really, this hearing Bhagavatam is great. They're telling that it's unimaginable, right? So it's because he wants to prove hearing Bhagavatam is just the kind of benefit it can provide is unimaginable. So he's using these kind of instrument. That no, you shouldn't read it, or you shouldn't do the deity worship, right? Okay, Jai Radha Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Translation. The power of association with the devotee of Krishna. Ever since I saw a certain person whose body was washed with his own tears, whose hair were standing up, were standing on end, and who stumbled around with a joyous heart, while quivering to the extreme, my mind has for some reason become so attached to the form of Krishna that I have no attachment to my family.
Okay, so yeah, this is the commentary, is just the little literal analysis. So, what is the takeaway from this verse?
Ever since I saw Krishna, I had no attachments to nothing else. All I wanted was Krishna. Like it was so powerful.
Yeah, so basically, this is the state once people are getting into the higher stage of ruchi, ashakti, nishtha, ruchi, ashakti, bhava, right? So as one is approaching, there is no interest in the material life, even to the extent of mundane family relationship. There is no interest. So what this verse is telling, that one will lose, as we had any of these five limb, if we are using, one will lose the interest for all thing material. Yes, Mataji, continue.
Translation. The power of chanting the name of the Lord. Ever since I have heard Narada singing the names of Krishna, which pacify the ears, my heart has become completely blissful, fixed in an unprecedented state of prema. Jiva Goswami's commentary, Sita Cool. Here refers to the cooling effect of hearing. Narada chant the names of the Lord. Material existence has a burning effect with its pain. Hearing the chanting of the names relieves a person of material suffering. Vanika refers to Narada who plays a vina by not naming him directly. All devotees of a similar nature are indicated. The extraordinary state, Kam Avastam, is actually prima. Iva is simply ornamental. Samyati means that the mind, giving up all external objects, becomes completely blissful.
Okay, so what's the takeaway?
The power of chanting, uh, it burns
Yes.
all of the pain and effects.
It's true. And why it is telling? Because it's telling that it cools it, right? The word Sita is used, like Mama Sita here. It cools us because material world is considered to be the something which burns, right? It's giving us misery, so it cools. Um, what else?
It relieves us from material suffering.
Yeah, this other very important point which is made here.
Hearing from Narada.
So somebody has the background noise. I think if you can mute yourself. Yes, Mataji, you are saying something. Who was trying to say something?
So samyati, right, Prabhu? Like even giving up all the worldly pleasures also will not be a pain. It looks like giving away also becomes very blissful because we are so attracted to the Lord chanting. It just blows like a cool wind,
Yes,
pacifying all the fire that is because of the miseries we are around.
yes, Mataji. Yes, yes. So that's one point. What is the other point? The one point which other point which I am trying to allude to is to look into the Jiva Goswami commentary. So typically it says that ever since I have heard Narada singing the name of Krishna, which pacify the ears, my heart has become completely blissful. So here, of course, uh, in the translation, Narada was used here, but if you look here, there is no word. Narada is not here. Okay? If you just read, there is no mention of Narada, and this is where Jiva Goswami is commenting that the word what it was using is Veena, right? Somebody is playing the Veena. So it's referring is that it, they if the only only meaning was Narada, they would have referred as Narada, but they are telling that one who plays the Veena. So of course, natural is Narada, but then it also means anybody who has a similar propensity like Narada. So anybody who sings the glory of the Lord with a lot of intent and always singing, right? They will get the state of prema. So it's just not the Narad Muni is going to get the unprecedented state of prema. Anybody who is like Narad Muni, who is always talking about the glorification of the Lord, who is always singing the glorification of Lord, will get the state of prema. So that's the other point which we hear from Jiva Goswami commentary. Okay, Mataji, this verse.
Translation: The power of residing in the district of Mathura, the splendor of Mathura's forest, made beautiful by being situated on the bank of the Yamuna, where buzzing bees take shelter of newly blooming kadamba trees, ornamented with unlimited sweetness, produces an extraordinary state of bhava in my mind. Jiva Goswami's commentary. The ecstasy of Baba mentioned in this verse is directed to Shamasudara.
Okay, so what is the key takeaway from here?
So is that Kadamba tree resembles Krishna Prabhu? So is that like that we should think?
Yeah, so that's exactly it's telling that just being in Vrindavan near the bank of Yamuna and not just seeing Krishna, not one is not seeing Krishna, but seeing those trees or buzzing bees, just going any of those things will lead to the state of extraordinary state of bhava. So just it's called tadya, right? Tadya word is used in Bhagavatam also. Anything which is related to Krishna or anything which is related to something which we love is called tadya, right? So these are this bumblebee because we know Bhagavatam it talks about there is a song of bees, right? And the forest, the Yamuna, Kadamba trees, the uh, ornamented with unlimited sweetness, right? So these any of those things telling that is going to produce an extraordinary state of bhava in my mind. So that's the potency of Mathura is being talked about. That if one goes there and one can feel any of those things, that will lead to bhava state. So again, the glorification of Mathura is being described here. All right. So somebody else. You have question, Prabhu? Shiva Prabhu? You're saying something?
Yes,
Yes, go
Prabhu.
ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, in the previous verse, I just want to understand the context, Prabhu. So, who is telling that when I'm hearing Narada singing?
Krishna.
Yeah. So, this is the statement of Krishna, Prabhu?
Yes. So this is the one. This not everything. This is the statement which is being this particular verse. It is referring to Krishna.
Oh,
Just
okay.
hold on. Just hold on, Prabhuji.
Is Rupa Goswami listening to Narada
Yeah.
singing? I'm just
Yes.
curious.
Yes. This is not Krishna. This is not Krishna. This is not Krishna. So let me see the previous verse, Prabhu. Yeah. So no. So they are coming with the same form, right here. Ever since I saw a certain person, right? And oh
So
idiot,
bigger.
yeah. So it is something very similar to what Upanishad talks about the author, right? So author is so in this case is the Rupa Goswami. So
Yes, bro.
author is talking about that what his feelings are, right? So from that perspective, it is referring to the author. Now, is it only referring to the Rupa Goswami, or is it like a just uh, generic? I think Rupa Goswami is talking in terms of the more generic that anybody from any point of view, if I am reading it, I will get the same impact what the author is trying to describe, which in this case is the Rupa Goswami. So that's how I will interpret Prabhuji.
But my curious question is like whether Rupa Goswami listening to Narada singing, that is quite, yeah. Just
Prabhu,
that's
yes,
just
Prabhu, yeah, there's no doubt about it. So Rupa Goswami was not just only listening to Narada. They were seeing Krishna. They're a pastime which you must have heard, right? Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. They were standing, and then he is standing in the sun, and then the cloud cover comes, and then Sanatan Goswami, I think it's called Rup Goswami, that you are taking the service of Radha Rani because Radha Rani is just trying to put her chunni to protect you, right, from the sun. So they were, yes, they were absolutely in touch with the divine all the time.
yes, probably that's where like I just
Oh,
thought
okay,
of.
no, no, yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, yes, definitely, Prabhu. They had the complete access to Narad Muni and other folks, all the divine beings, because Rup Goswami himself was a Manjari, right?
Yes, so that's what
Yeah.
like so by sitting here when we try to understand, like we need to think like what level of mood that they are thinking and writing this scripture, right, Prabhu? So that's where like so he's revealing something that I also it's at least it's a proof that Rupa Goswami was able to listen to Narada Muni singing.
Oh,
So yeah.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Narada means devotee. That's a. I'm not saying devotee is considered to be very high, right? Even some cases higher than Krishna. So of course he has access to Narad Muni singing. At the same time, he had access to the divine couple, right? Radharani and Krishna also. They were tied to his love.
Correct.
So Mathura we covered. Okay, some other devotee. Aparna Mataji, would you like to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Translation. The inconceivable power of these extraordinary five angas is such that it will manifest the state of bhava and its object, Krishna, at the same time. Jiva Goswami's commentary. From the text, one can understand that these five angas are extraordinary. This is confirmed by other verses as well. Concerning the form of the deity, it is said, if one only if even only once, or even by force, one brings the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead into one's mind, one can attain the supreme salvation by the mercy of Krishna, as Aghasura did. What then is to be said of those in whose hearts the Supreme Personality of Godhead enters when he appears as an incarnation, or those who always think of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the source of transcendental bliss for all living entities, and by whom all illusion is completely removed? Concerning the Bhagavatam, it is said,
Sorry.
completely rejecting all religious activities that are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold misery. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Concerning the chanting the name of the Lord, it is said, the chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the
Here.
best.
I think this Mataji
Oh,
here
did I
from
miss
here.
something? Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
yeah, Mataji, because I was moving it, so that's the reason. Yeah.
Okay. Concerning association with the devotee of the Lord, it is said, when the material life of a wandering soul has ceased, O Achyuta, he may attain the association of your devotees. Moreover, when he associates with them, there awakens in him devotion unto you, who are the goal of the devotees and the Lord of all causes and their efforts. Concerning chanting the name of the Lord, it is said, the chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to protect him. Concerning residing in Mathura district, it has been said, one achieves the highest bliss by touching Mathura. Vishwananda Chakravarti Thakura's commentary. Bhava and the Vishaya of Bhava, Krishna, Tad Vishayam, appear at the same time. Sahayeva.
Okay. Yeah. So, what is the takeaway? Because whenever we have a long commentary, it becomes a little like, okay, are we able to get the gist of it? So, what is the takeaway?
Remembrance is kind of the most important part of it, because once we devote ourselves and think of the Lord, he will automatically also think of us and be there to protect us when in time of need.
Definitely, Mataji, definitely. But see, this particular specific verse is talking about again the inconceivable power of these five angas, and is telling that these same like just like the previous verse, right? In a different way, that these five angas are so potent, then it will bring one immediately to the state of bhava, and as the bhava is coming, is object Krishna also happens at the same time. So the for some the bhava to prema will progress like seems like together, right? So it's so inconceivable potent, these five angas. And now Jiv Goswami in the commentary then is going one by one to each of the angas, and he's giving this citation that how these angas uh, really helps, right? So that's exactly he was telling. Okay, now concerning the Bhagavatam, so he talks about Bhagavatam. This is the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.12, right? That was cited. And then association with the devotees, right? How again referring that how the association of devotees is so powerful, chanting, right? And then residing in Mathura. So he goes into each of those and he presents those, he covers those five ankas, which is being talked about in the verse. So that's what he's talking about. Okay, some other, someone else, 245. Bri Mataji.
Translation. In some of the verses quoted from the scriptures, material results are attributed to the angas for attracting persons possessing material consciousness. However, the main result of these angas is rati, or pava. Jiva Goswami's commentary. The main result can be understood from the following verses. Whether one is without desire, the condition of the devotees, or is desirous of all fruitive results, or is after liberation, one should with all effort try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with intense devotion. Pava. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Verse 10. The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of the devotee who approaches him with such motives, but he does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, and That shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, verse 27. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarisha never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service and various engagement related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, verse 20. However, for those persons with material inclinations, material results are mentioned. For the real devotees, rati is the result, because rati is produced simply by hearing about the qualities of the Lord. Even though this worship is easy, it produces results that cannot be attained by other processes. Therefore, pava or rati is the main result of practicing the angas of bhakti. Though the result of sadhana bhakti is pava, that bhava or rati also has many varieties according to which of the many forms of the amsi, Krishna, the person, is worshipping.
All right. So, what is the takeaway?
The main result of practicing the angas in this path is to attain bhakti. That's the main goal. Even though there are other ways that, I mean, even though there are people who might have mixed desires or devotion, this is I think the top is what they're saying is the top. And then depending on how your relationship with the Lord is, depends on, where you kind of fall into that, how you fall into it, I should say.
Yeah, so actually, it's telling even something more than that. It is telling that if one approaches Krishna, see here what it says. In some of the verses quoted from the scriptures, material results are attributed to the angas. So if one is just approaching these angas and they are seeking the material gains, so that which Mata you are saying mixed bhakti, right? But after fulfilling it, that person loses the an anga for attracting person possessing material consciousness. How the main result of the anga is rati. So that person is ultimately able to get to rati, right? Because it's saying the same sentence, which means that this person who was initially desiring the material thing, they will lose interest in all those material things, and because the ultimate goal of the bhakti is bhava, right? So it's telling that. So the person who is previous verse was about the person who is like sinful. Here is telling person with the mixed bhakti also. They will ultimately, if they just have attraction, little attraction, even not the strong faith, they will ultimately where they will reach is the rati, because the ultimate goal of this ultimate goal of the bhakti is rati. Okay. Shiva Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Translation. The consensus of those knowledgeable of bhakti is that karma, varnashrama duties, is not an anga of Srinada Chakravarti Thakura's commentary. Someone may argue as follows. True, there is a glorification of all the angas of pure bhakti above all the other processes, but Parashara has glorified karma as well. The Supreme Lord Vishnu is to be worshipped by a man through the duties of Varnashrama. There is no other path for satisfying the Lord. Vishnu Purana. This Vishnu Purana verse substantiates that karma is an anga of bhakti. For in that verse, there is evident approval for worshipping Vishnu in combination with Varnashrama activities. However, the author states that the consensus sammatam of those thoroughly experienced in bhakti, pure devotees, including even Parashara, is otherwise. Parashara has also said, O Maitreya, King Bharata simply said, O Master of Sacrifice, O Achyuta, Govinda, Madhava, Ananta, Keshava, Krishna, Vishnu, Rishikesha. He said nothing else, even in his dreams. Vishnu Purana.
Okay,
Thus, the
so
statement,
go ahead, Prabhu. No, I thought it's finished. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, thus the statement quoted from Vishnu Purana that approves Varnashrama as bhakti has been spoken only to encourage those persons who are not qualified for pure bhakti.
So, what is the takeaway from this verse?
I think in the initial sessions we discussed Varnashrama Dharma as a to make them uh, inclined to the process of bhakti, but it's not the actual process of bhakti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So that's the reason here Rupa Goswami is saying that it's not an Anga of Bhakti, but then he cites the verses where it seems that, oh, this will be the Anga of Bhakti, but the consensus is that it can only lead, one should continue doing the Varnashrama uh, until our heart is purified, right? Means the once has not come to the bhakti. So in that case one should continue using the varnashrama, because that will ultimately will lead to one to come to bhakti. Otherwise, um, uh, this the varnashrama is not needed. So that's the conclusion. That's very last, the last two line, right? It concluded basically here. Okay. Mrinalini Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Translation: in the 11th canto, it is explained one should continue to perform the daily and periodic Varnashrama activities until one actually becomes detached from material sense gratification and develops faith for hearing and chanting about me. SB 1120.9, Jiva Goswami's commentary. This verse explains the circumstances in which the performance of Varnashrama is applicable, because one should perform Varnashrama duties until one reaches detachment from enjoyment and develops faith in bhakti. Directions are given to engage in Varnashrama. The verse spoken by Parashara thus means that because Vishnu is worshipped by a person who follows Varnashrama duties, that path and no other is satisfying to Vishnu. This, of course, refers to a person with no faith in bhakti. But Parashara also says, if even for a moment the remembrance of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is missed, it is the greatest loss. It is the greatest fault, the greatest illusion, and the greatest anomaly. Vishnu Dharma 1.16. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura's commentary. The commentary says karmani means daily and periodic duties of varnashrama. The scripture says whoever disregards the Shruti and Smriti scriptures that are mine and breaks the rules is a breaker of my order, a hater of me. Even if he is my devotee, he is not a Vaishnava. However, this does not apply to the devotee because the devotee is following another order. He breaks the first order to perform Varnashrama only because he is following another order of the Lord, which is based on the detachment from the material enjoyment and faith in bhakti.
Okay, so what is the takeaway here?
Varnashrama dharma is performed until we are completely detached, and we ultimately the goal is getting to bhakti, the bhakti path.
Yeah, so what is telling? So somebody who doesn't have the inclination for the bhakti, for them, of course, there is a path which is the varnashrama path. So they should continue on that path, and ultimately it will lead. So slowly they will develop the detachment from material sense gratification, and they will and then they will be as it is happening, they will be developing the faith for hearing and chanting. And once you have the faith in hearing and chanting, basically one has actually moved to a bhakti path, right? So that's what is emphasizing, is bringing the varnashrama concept again, just saying that yes, it is one of the path, but it is not the path for the bhaktas who are on this path, right? And when the transition happens from varnashrama to bhakti, so that's all is being taught here. And let me go to the waves of devotion here. Let's see if there are some good points we can glean from here. All right, so here, Rajesh Prabhu, would you like to read this from here?
Yes, Prabhu. Just give me 1 second. I'm just taking my glasses out.
Okay, okay, no worries. Your glasses of love, right? Prema
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah. So this is we are reading worshipping of the deity, right?
Yes,
Examples.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Srila Rupa Goswami composes a beautiful metaphor to illustrate the special efficacy of deity worship. My dear friend, if you still have any desire to enjoy the company of your friends within the material world, then don't look upon the form of Krishna, who is standing on the bank of Keshi Ghat. He is known as the Govinda, and his eyes are very enchanting. He is playing upon his flute, and his head there is a peacock feather, and his whole body is illuminated by the moonlight in the sky. Uh, the type, this type of poetic metaphor condemns uh, what it seems to praise and praises what it seems to condemn. Thus, it instructs one to see the beautiful deity of Govinda in Vrindavana and thereby become completely indifferent to the attractions of the material world. Complete indifference is one of the 9 symptoms of Bhava Bhakti, namely Virakti. Srila Rupa Goswami thus shows that seeing the deity, especially the Govinda form, can quickly evoke devotional ecstasy, bhava, even in a neophyte.
So just some thoughts occur to me, right? Even though it's not directly mentioned here. Um, See, we are learning this philosophy that how one can get to bhava, right? By simple doing these 5 things. Now, at our stage, the stage of struggling sadhaka, what is the key takeaway? I'm trying to find your internal thoughts, like what's going in your mind as you are reading this. What's going in your mind? Anybody would like to contribute that? Yeah, this some realization is happening to me. This is what we can do or not do.
Seeing the deity, how it can take you away from everything.
Very good point. Very good point. And this is where I will bring. We have talked about before. When we go to the DT, our prayerful mood is very important, right? And we have talked about that how once a visiting preacher was talking about when we are praying to the DT, our mind is doing a lot of talking, right? We want to pray for somebody, we want to glorify the Lord, but our mind is doing so much of talking. And that time, if we can just acknowledge that what's talking is happening and then try to wait the talking to stop, right? So we become aware that my mind is talking. We stop that talking, and then with the empty mind, and once we become aware, means you can if you already practice it, then you know what it is. If you haven't practiced, just try to practice it. And I have seen that when we are in that state where mind is totally focused on Krishna, you will have an amazing experience. You will feel that Krishna is there. Sometimes you may even have the deep emotion, which of course is not bhava, but you will have a deep emotion. Right? So each of these things, as we are reading, uh, I hope that you are able to internalize. So right, so that was for the DT, right? That was for the DT. Thank you, Mataji. Now tell me about the hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
I have. Can I say something here?
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead. I'm listening, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I think this kind of deep emotion and sometimes like even eyes welling up, that happens like whenever I hear some kirtan or bhajan or something, but sometimes I don't like have that same kind of emotional state uh, when during deity worship, right? So is that something like what are there any practical tips because yeah, I don't know, Prabhu, and
No,
how
no.
to
So,
how to how to develop or cultivate that
no. So, but see, you are already getting that special connection. You are saying that you are getting that special connection, the higher intensity when you are hearing compared to when you are doing the DT worship. Is that the question?
yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So that's totally fine, Prabhuji. See, these different angas are there, and depending on our psychophysical nature,
Hmm.
we may be attracted to one anga more than the other angas,
Hmm.
right? So you're, and this is very good that you are very attached to hearing, and that is giving you the realization, the intensity, but you are not getting with the DT. That will happen in due course of time. The one thing, if we really want to say that I would also like to work on this, one thing is going with the gratitude, right? That so before you go, this is a trick you can do, and this trick also works even for the japa, is thinking how Krishna has made our life what it is today, what I would have been without it, the connection I have with Krishna, my family has that connection with Krishna, the kind of service we get for Krishna, the kind of associates we have due to Krishna, and we go whatever is closer to you. Just think with that, have that gratitude, and then you do what you're trying to do, either chanting or DT worship. You will find it that we are more connected in that process rather than just going straight and hitting it.
Hmm.
Just a
Thank you, Prabhu.
practical tip. This I have seen has helped me a little bit. So you can. And anybody would like to add anything from your own realization, anything which has worked for you?
Prabhu, like I just coming to the day topic, like things that we are reading, when you ask for our internalization, if not respect to any particular angle, I think one thing that comes into my mind is like just take advantage. We have everything in the temple, so Prabhupada with so mercifully created the ecosystem to practice bhakti. When you are there, like put all your efforts and try your best to leverage the time and resources or the environment that we have. I think like that wave of gratitude is like hitting the surface when you talk about these topics today.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, definitely. Other than gratitude, anybody would like to add something which has really helped, which seems like the basic thing which really helps?
Sadhu Sangha and Smaranam and any 9 practices, Prabhu. Like continuously we follow up the bhajans and all. At a moment, as Rajesh Prabhu was saying, it so happens that we'll be so attracted to Krishna. Uh, Without knowing, tears just roll down. It so many times it did happen to me. Like we just think like we should ask for this. We should like take to this, but the moment it comes, that nothing comes in our mind. It's just that the form fills up. That is how we get attracted to him. And this will always make us, it is like a magnet that is attracting a particle towards him. So always we just take different something get prioritized, but at that particular moment nothing becomes priority. He is the main priority.
Yes, Mataji, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And you see, Krishna, uh, For most of, I'm pretty sure for most of you, Krishna must have given you an advertisement that what it would mean to get into the r- state of rati, right? And you might experience something very deep, and then you may not experience that thing, even though you may try to do the same thing. What you are doing to get that experience during that time when it happened, it may not happen again, right? So that's the advertisement he keeps doing. So these emotions, right? These are temporary emotions. Those are the uh, sign which those are not the bhava. Okay, those things can happen due to our own emotions. Those are typically not the bhava, but somebody may get the bhava. I don't, because it is quite possible, right? Anybody can get into the bhava stage depending on how intense someone's devotion is. The age doesn't really matter. The time in the bhakti doesn't matter, because our time in the bhakti from the previous birth, we don't know, right? So it's possible, but in general, for the most of the average devotee practitioner, um, there will be initially there will be emotions, and we should be okay with those emotions. That's okay, those emotions, but we should continue in practice the bhakti, because those emotions are very temporary. And once somebody gets even closer to this, there is a term we haven't talked in the nectar of devotion yet, but um have you heard this um, shadow of bhakti? Have you heard about this?
Mhm.
Chaya. It says chaya. Like when we are doing the chanting, there is the concept uh, chaya bhas. Have you heard that?
No, Prabhu, no.
So before one's name is non-different than from Krishna, right? Once, even if there is a little, the name is so powerful that even the little closer to chaya, you will have an intense feeling and the intense realization when even one is closer. And this is we all should strive for. So you see, the goal is which what we should strive, right? This is what devotee tell us. When we are chanting, the simplest mean is try to hear the sound vibration and try to keep the mind on that. Just by doing this simple process, everything will start becoming perfect. So we should try to, and I struggle, okay? So I'm not claiming that I'm doing it, but this is what I am trying, and this is what I have learned is try to break out of this mechanical chanting. So chanting is very important. We all should, the focus should be chanting, right? 16 good rounds as we promise, right? But we know that there's always a lot of a struggle. But just this thing that say the mantra and try to hear the mantra. That simple process, which Prabhupada has said, will do wonders. Will do wonders, and very soon, the devotee will start making a lot of advancement. So that's about the chanting the Hare Krishna mantra.
Prabhu, just one more question, quick question. So you said like deep emotional state and bhava, like I think I get it that it's like different, but is
Yes.
it like persistent or continuous? That emotional state is called bhava, or is it totally different, Prabhu?
Yes, yeah, Prabhu. So I was, yes. So thank you for saying that. So bhava, that state, because sometimes we can think that I'm getting emotions, so that must be bhava. Crying is bhava. No, bhava is a very high stage where one is directly in connection with the divine couple. Okay, that's the stage of that's the stage of bhava. That's pretty advanced stage. What we are experiencing is an intermittent emotion, and sometimes those emotions can be intense. It may last for a long time. Okay, maybe for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes it's very transient. You get the little tear, right, for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then we are doing something else. So within those transient emotions, there can be higher intensity. So that's what I was talking about. Higher intensity, but that is not bhava. It is closer to the chaya. It's not even chaya. In chaya itself, there is a lot of uh, emotions and intensity, right? On our progression is closer to chaya. But some of you, means again, I'm not trying to minimize any of you here, right? Some of you may be in chaya, I don't know, right? But I'm just telling this is through my experience, that through my own learning, that chaya itself is a pretty advanced state. The chaya bhas, the nama bhas, sorry, nama bhas is itself uh, is a pretty advanced stage in terms of getting from the nama aprad. Right now we are in the nama aprad, and you will see that nama aprad. So you tell me, we'll end the discussion very quickly. What are some of your practical understanding of the nama aprad, which we may be doing?
Probably doing just like a count purpose. It's not. It is also a nama aparat, Prabhu.
So see that because there the mind is not in control, I won't call it a nama aparad. Um, because if you are doing it without distraction, you are not cooking and you are chanting. You are sitting and chanting. You are trying to focus, but your mind is not focusing on you. So that is not called nama nama aparad. Okay, that is your mind is just, we are bound by our mind that time. So yes, so what else can, what you else will you consider as a nama aparad?
Is it like while driving and chanting? And is
Yeah,
it, yeah,
yeah.
maybe something
That
like,
that's that's
browsing?
wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. Because
Mm.
see, we want to show, and this is a very practical thing. When anybody is there sitting in front of us, and we are not looking into their eyes, we are looking somewhere here and there and talking. We are not giving the respect to that person,
Mm.
right? This is very similar to that. We are not giving respect to the Nam. So those are all the nama apara. So people, like, they are going inside the house, they are looking at the tree, they are looking at the table, they are looking at the chair, and they are chanting. That's not a good chanting, right? I'm making the offense to the nam. Okay. Um, so other thing you will see, and this I wanted to say, you'll see quite a time, number of time, devotees are, the lecture is happening or the kirtan may be happening and devotee will be chanting. What do you think about that?
Namaste.
You're disrespecting the devotee as well who is giving the lecture, Prabhu. So that is even more offense than just Namakradha.
Yes, so for majority of us, what Preeti Mata is telling, that's true. Because um, we are offending the devotee also, and we are offending the name also. Because somebody is giving the lecture, and we should be focusing on that. But and here that and this I wanted to bring this topic because sometimes we have the tendency of judgment. At least I have. We have this tendency of judgment. Um, we think that, oh, look, that Prabhu or that Mataji is doing aparad. But we should be just aware that we should try to control that behavior. The other person who is doing, we don't know who they are. Because at the advanced stage, you will see that you'll see even sannyasi, their hand never comes out of the japa bead. Okay. So they have trained their mind in such a way that even if so they're not chanting, when the class is happening, even though you'll see their hand inside the japa bag, they are not chanting when they're listening. But if there is even the moment of a gap, they will just do one chanting, right? So they are like in always 24/7 chanting. But those are the very advanced devotee, okay? And they have trained themselves that they are able to do that. And those are not the 16 round of chanting they are doing. 16 round of chanting one does by sitting properly and chanting. Those are not those 16 round they are doing. But after that, they're trying to do constant chanting. And these are devotees who are at a pretty advanced stage. They are definitely, if you look into this, the 9 steps, they are definitely nishtha and above. I will say definitely they are in the ruchi and higher. They have developed so much of ruchi, so much of interest that they are there and above. So, but why I brought this, that we should if we know ourselves, and we know that we are not that advanced, we should not be trying to do that. We should be chanting. We should be doing the simple thing, which is chanting at our home or wherever. Try to do the best we can do in our chanting. Control the mind. Not chanting at the if we have not finished, we have to try to see how we can do the good chanting. If so, that's we have to plan, and not judging other people, ourselves not chanting at the when the classes are happening and all those stuff, and that's it. So these are some of the points I wanted to make. um, okay, so I'll take a pause here, and we will start chapter 14 next class. Okay, it's 248 to 269. And Rajesh Prabhu, you are joining here for the first time. So this is actually Nectar of Devotion. Is Prabhupada took the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and then he has converted into the more like a novel form. Like he took the essence and he presented there. We are actually reading the verses from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this is a in a way Nectar of Devotion study, but a little bit more detail. Okay. Otherwise, we are studying the Nectar of Devotion. So it will be good if anybody, like as we have finished the chapter 13, is the best thing to go and read the Nectar of Devotion book, chapter 13, and you will see that okay, how Prabhupada has presented it in such a simple manner. Okay. So with that, I'll end the class. Hare Krishna to all of you. See you next week. And sorry, I didn't acknowledge Janni Mataji. Hare Krishna, Janni Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shila Prabhu Mataji. Sorry, I didn't
I,
acknowledge you. Yeah.
it's okay, Prabhuji. I was just enjoying the nectarian conversation amongst all of you, so it was very blissful. I joined late, but I got to catch the last 20 minutes of
Okay,
the
Mataji. Thank you.
beautiful conversations.
Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.